Hi, it's Phyllis again with more of Phil's Fluff. Tonight I wanted to share with you two things that I've made for a dear friend of mine. It was her birthday this week, and we're getting together this weekend. And I made for her a card and another mini album. And I'm as devout a follower of StarofMay as I am of Pink Scrapper 99, and it seems that all of my cards have started to resemble hers, and I wanted to share the birthday card that I made for my friend. Simple cardstock, cut into a standard A2 size. It has a K & Company border adhered to the bottom, and I did trim the card as she so often does, and extended the border then, rounded the corners, added a piece of pattern paper from a Recollections bold collection, and it is 8.5 by 11 size paper. I added to it the little dimensional sentiment that's a wishing you the best birthday, and it was a Michael's Ben dollar stamp. It's by Inkadinka-Doo. Tied this one with a little bit of crochet thread. I was looking for butcher's twine and wasn't happy with what I was finding, and found this beautiful non-metallic copper butcher's thread, and I thought, that'll do just what I want. So that's the card that I made for her, and I'll fold a little envelope for it as well. The album that I've made is a mini album, and again it's in the style of Pink Scrapper 99, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. I had an opportunity for the first time to use my Bind It All binder, and I'm so much happier with the Bind It All than I was with the D-rings. One thing that I'll show you when I open the album that I will do differently, there's a learning curve, and that is my placement of my holes. While they're centered on my covers, front and back, my pages were not quite as big as the size that goes with a 5 by 5 inch cover, so my holes are a little off. They're a little low. Simple cardstock, and this was stamped with a pattern stamp and Versamark Frost ink. And then this is a little epoxy accent by Cloud9 Studios. This friend and I went to Paris together. We've been a couple of times together. We both love it, and so this had some pictures from our trip together and pictures of our times together. The opening page has some, and most of the stickers and embellishments within this little book are by Paper Studio, with a couple from K & Company and Jolie, and they usually deal with Paris. So we had a little fleur-de-lis that was a Jolie, and then this airplane actually was a different company, and I'm sorry I can't remember the name. There were just about 4 stickers on the page. As with all of my other albums, I like to use put the little heart charm. Kind of hard to see here. The little heart charm says made with love, and I like to tie that on my bindings. The Pink Scrapper bias cut pocket folder was my concept for this, but my papers that I wanted to use were not 12 by 12. They were 8.5 by 11, and I thought, I wonder if I could fold a bias cut pocket with that size paper, and it worked. And now you'll see what I mean when I say that this page was a little bit smaller than what's the directions for the Bind It All, so that my holes wound up, I got a flea bite at the top, which I don't like, and it's a little bit lower on the cover, sits lower on the cover. I think I should have added one more hole, and next time that's what I'll do. Alright, here's the little album. This is a little cardstock that I stamped again with the Versamark Frost Resist ink, and gave it a little Jolie's Eiffel Tower on the top. Again, this is back to my crochet yarn that I used in the place of butcher's twine. It's not exactly the same, but I like it. It's a little softer, a little less rustic. Alright, page 2, there's a picture of my friend and me together, and a little epoxy embellishment from K & Company. It says, Dear Friend. The pockets, in addition to having the 2 bias cut pockets, all have an opening at the top where you could tuck other mementos and pictures if you wanted to. Now obviously this page is about 4.5 inches square, so it's a little small for a 4 by 6 picture, but most of the ones that I used for this I just cut down. Paper Studio Arc de Triomphe, and then we have a picture of the rose window, the stained glass window from Saint-Chapelle in Paris. the back of the page for photo mounts, and I just cut the border off a piece of pattern paper, gave it the Swiss dots, I don't know if you can see the Swiss dots, on my Cuttlebug, and it turned out to look very French. I liked it a lot. This next pocket was a picture that I took of the gargoyles at the top of Notre Dame. Climbed up to see the gargoyles, and these two are side by side, and I just cut them in half. And the piece of the two is this gargoyle, and he sits in front of this tag, which says, "So I said, Jean, are you ready to go home yet?" No would have sufficed, because the picture is of the next gargoyle, and he is actually holding a man in his arms, biting his head off. When we went to Paris together in 2000, we sent a postcard of that set of gargoyles back to the office, and I put that same statement on the back of the postcard, and I said, "Gina, were you ready to go back to work yet?" She didn't have to bite my head off. And again, the back of this for a photo opportunity, and another little Paper Studio dimensional embellishment of the metros. The next page is, now this paper, unlike the ones that Carlene the Pink Scrapper uses, these were not two-sided. I had to fold my pages so that I didn't get this border. If you use two-sided paper, you would get a different print there. The way I fold my papers, I get the pattern of the original pattern on both pockets. Okay, I liked the contrast on this particular pocket. It was a little plain. I wanted it to dress up a little. And this is a picture. Again, I just trimmed part of it off. You could use it for a bookmark. And it's a nice shot of the gilded statue of Jeanne d'Arc there at it's right at the intersection of where the Rue Rivoli comes into the Place de Concorde. And it's one of my friend's favorite statues there in Paris, since she is also a Jean or Jean. Back of that page, nice little border just trimmed from another piece of pattern paper across the top, and a Paper Studio Ooh La La button. Final pictures in this has a little stamp that was from Stickabilities, Paper Studio Stickabilities, a little Paris stamp. And this set of tags is from the collection, it's a Paris fabric collection at Michael's. And I like this one because it says Maison de Fleurs, and it also says Printemps, which is a department store that is not far from where this picture is that was taken. And it's one of our favorite places in Paris. It is the Fragonard Perfume Factory, and she and I were both bemoaning the fact that our Fragonard is running low, so it sounds like we need a trip to Paris. Back page left plain on this one for a nice photo mat. And then the final pocket has another of those interesting French fabric tags, and it is fabric. You can feel a texture on it. And this one is printed with French phrase about products of France, and I liked the little coffee and the croissant, a little petit déjeuner on that particular page. And that page is also left blank for a picture. And then the back page, as with the front where I folded my paper over my seam, I used a K & Company border, and this one has arrows on it. I used that on the front and the back, and then I gave it a little stamp at the back with my handmade by stamp. When you bind these with your Bind It All, you get a closure mark. It looks like a bar. And if you put your pages in the right way, which takes some figuring, it did for me anyway, then your little bar is closed behind your pages, and you don't have any exposed metal that you might stick yourself with. And then the front says Play Together, which is something that we truly enjoy doing, and we're going to do that when we go to lunch tomorrow. And that's what I have for tonight. Little memory album, homage to Carlene the Pink Scrapper, and then the birthday card for my friend Jean, patterned on the Star of May. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your comments.